Alright guys, this is a match in Colombo. This one, just before we get into it, isn't actually anything special apart from the fact that, the Schroeder sent me a message that he wasn't particularly pleased with my gameplay on this one. And I said it to him, and I'll reiterate it in this video. I agree with why he felt that way from his perspective. But just as a little bit of my series of like how to try to win games that maybe wouldn't otherwise be won, I think there are some important lessons to take away from this match, both from my perspective and from maybe the rest of my flank, why I made some of the decisions I did, and what I think might have happened if I had made other decisions. The first thing I see is that this Z-52 isn't in a fleet, and he's launching widespread torpedoes kind of through A. Early zoning torpedoes are not the worst idea. The reload on the torpedoes on the Z-52, I think, is like 1.5 minutes. They're 10.5 kilometer range, I think. I'm not 100% sure they even get to the back of A, and the fact, like, look at how far they're spread apart. Like, there's no way those torpedoes on the right are hitting anything. So already, I'm like, oof, I don't know about this Z-52. Secondly, I thought he might just go into the cap. He's a Z-52. He's a prime cap contester. We've got a Schroeder and a Colombo. Like, this is an amazing cap bully flank, but he's going around that island. I had already kind of come to this side to try to go in the island with some cover on my left to help support him. But once he starts going around the island, like, I can't immediately just turn around and follow. So I beach intentionally to try to back up. My next best idea to try to support him and the Schroeder that's following him is to stay near this island, and so I can fire across the cap. Now you see his torpedoes are gone, but somebody's in the cap right now, okay? So we looked at the thing earlier. I think the enemy team is a Holland, Shima, maybe, maybe a Hayate as their third destroyer. All of those have really long-range torpedoes, so I can't just charge into the cap, or I'm going to eat a face full of torpedoes. All right, so we see one. Yeah, there's the Holland. Okay, so I know it's not him. So I'm playing a little conservatively. I'm hoping that the Z-52 goes in right here, or at least stays where he can spot these ships, because I've actually got a great crossfire position onto the Ohio and the Agir. The Colombo's penetration isn't amazing at these ranges, but you can still hit upper belt and stuff like that, or get some plunging fire, like whatever you got to do. Like, I'm going to do damage to these ships. It's not the best, but certainly not going to be the worst. So yeah, right here, I'm trying to back up a little bit. I feel like there might be torpedoes coming. Oh, there they are. I was probably still safe, but I definitely didn't 100% know the angle, so I'm backing up. So anyway, so I see the Z-52, see the Schroeder over there. The Schroeder is angled out from the Ohio. At this point, if I were him, I think just staying in a little bit closer to the islands to try to get some cover might be his best play, but he might also be spotted by the Shima, and maybe he's worried about the torpedoes, so I don't get, I don't really begrudge him there. Again, here I am, shooting at these ships across the map. He's asking me for help, and I'm trying to say, like, dude, I am. Like, I'm shooting these ships. Like, that's why they have damage. It's not, again, it's not amazing, but I am trying to shoot them. Lackluster, shot on the Agir. Ohio's angled into me now. My hope is that they'll kind of stop advancing. If I can get a good hit on either of these guys, that they might stop pushing the Z-52. I wish the Z-52 was kind of looking for the Shima. And like, do you see those little gap between the islands over there where they are, that maybe they could push into that, but I see the Ohio's kind of cutting that off. Like, they're in a bit of a pickle over there, and I can't really go to help them at this point. My Colombo, I think at its fastest is like 30 knots, and I actually am running drill bits on this build. I go back and forth. I can't make up my mind. They nerfed the damage, so drill bits kind of helps make up with that a little bit, but then you're like, I think it's 28.7 knots max. That's just not that fast. I'm trying to help get some shots over on this Agir. I get 2 bounces, which is a bummer, but whatever. And here I actually noticed that our C cap is done. We have 2 destroyers pushing into D. A is capped. Their 2 ships are way out of position. The Ohio is going to take a while to come back. If the Schroeder, I wish they had just stayed a little bit in cover so the Ohio couldn't get to them. I'm still lobbing shells over. Some of these are going to make it, some of these are not. The Agir is going down, that's fine. So at this point, I think, okay, the Schroeder might go down. The Z52 should be fine. He should be able to, even if the Shima finds him, like an Ohio and a Shima shouldn't take the Z52. Great, the Schroeder got the Agir. My best bet right now is I saw there was a Brindisi. There's the cruiser, and I'm like, oh, there he is right there. If the Brindisi gets in and deletes both of our destroyers, this match is going to flip from a win to a loss. So I'm trying to protect our 2 destroyers right here. There is another battleship right here, but hey man, we all know you can't trust blue battleships. Yeah, you see that the Schroeder's still disappointed me. Like, again, I get it. It feels like I'm over there, but you guys are like 10 kilometers away from the A cap. I'm trying to support these destroyers. There's just nothing going on over there. I figured the Brindisi would either go through that middle or come through this flank right beside me, right to my right side, and I would kind of get him either way. Got a decent salvo on him, nothing amazing, and it does turn out that these destroyers take care of him anyway. But yeah, my big kind of win or lose this match play was I was concerned that he would get in there and delete both of our destroyers, and then we're in trouble. The Michelangelo, it's whatever too, but he's kind of doing the same thing on the other side of the map, is that he has chased a cruiser and a destroyer like way away from the caps. I think he does get the cruiser, but it's also like there's nothing over there. There's nothing over there to do. Here we find the Shima. I don't quite have the angle. I didn't fully expect the Shima to just chase the Z52 way out into the middle of nowhere, but it's also like, it's a Shima versus Z52. The Z52 should win this fight, but he doesn't. So that's another reason I didn't really want to go all in on the Z52, because again, like these kind of thoughts about where do you invest your ship, where do you invest your play, who do you take a risk on? That very first play from the Z52 gave me just like, you know, my spidey sense is like, I don't know about this guy. And again, it can happen to anybody. I've gotten torpedoed by a Shima and a Z52. Like, it happens. But just that was my sneaky suspicion, is that I might not want to tie myself all over that. And again, just based on how he played it, he never went into A. He never, you know, the sonar on the Z52 is your thing, especially with a Schroeder and a Colombo to back you up. Like, we had a great cap contest, and we never even got in the cap. That's exactly what I was worried about. That's why I didn't push into the cap. I neglected to mention earlier, but there was a blue GK that came through that gap into A and got like dev struck. That's why I didn't go into the cap. That's what I'm trying to avoid doing. Even at this point, this game is mostly won, but these can still turn. You'll see in a second. Oh, he already got it. Actually, the Hayate got shot by a GK. Not 100% sure why he was spotted. But again, these are... I'm trying to play conservatively enough that even if these decisions are made, it doesn't cost the game. Because if the Hayate goes down, if I go down, if I get torpedoed, like if I'm over trying to chase that Shima down, I love sinking Shimas. My most sunk ship of the past year. Like, yeah, I shoot him. You saw I shot at it earlier when it was spotted. I'm going to try to shoot at it again if it gets spotted, but I'm not just going to run into it. You know, he's over there. Like, I think it's a Yamato off to my right. He's playing a dangerous game. If the Shima torpedoed that side, which is totally plausible, he might eat a face full of torpedoes. I think he's also broadside to the Ohio, so he's lucky he didn't go down there, but he got a decent hit on him. This Daring played a great game. You know, I think I didn't win this game for our team. A lot of these plays ended up being a little bit unnecessary, but it was also kind of the decision process that I was making as I was going there. This is one of those games where I don't think, you know, I did fine, but it's not like, oh, this game depended on my play here. But I'm trying to explain why I made the more conservative decisions I did. Don't rush into the cap. There's 3 destroyers on here that can torpedo you from long range. And our flank didn't look like they were rushing in to contest the cap. Don't abandon the middle, because there's a Brindisi on the loose that can really easily take out our destroyers. As I said, I don't know that me being there was necessary, but it so easily could have been if the Hayate and Daring's torpedoes weren't up, or if the Brindisi managed to dodge them all, or, you know, if the GK was a little bit closer and comes around the corner and sonars everything for the Brindisi to sink them. Like, we didn't know what was going to happen. So me playing the kind of central more defensive position was, I think, the right call for how this match was unfolding. Um, and additionally, if I had been out on the flank, if a Schroeder and a Z52 can't take out the Shimakaze with me trying to provide fire support, which admittedly, I did not get the best salvos on those two ships, but I was hitting them. I got the one Citadel and the Agir, and I did do whatever it was, about 60,000 damage between the two of them. That's not enough to sink them. But I was supporting, and if I go around that island, they're just going to angle to all three of us. I don't get broadside targets, I get nose in targets, and then I'm stuck there for the remainder of the match. So yeah, at the end of the match, you'll see I believe the Daring and the Hayate both had pretty good matches. Mine was very blah for a legendary tier match, but it's a win, and ultimately, that's what I'm playing for. Not the most exciting game, the red team, woof, but a win is a win, so we'll take it.